The question I came up with is I realized one of the things that I have enjoyed about getting to know you and working with you is your transparency. And I've done my best to really try to pick apart everything that's wrong with Xen. And I've challenged you several times and you always you rise above. But one question that I have failed to ask is what you're about to hear here. We know your experience with Google. We know your experience with ImageShack and a few others. The one question that I need to know more about is what businesses have you started that have failed?
All of them.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. Google used to be not evil, and now they're evil. So, I mean, I'm not saying that they have failed in a monetary sense, but certainly they became this mega corporation that controls everybody's lives. And I'm not saying like control. You don't feel that control,
No.
but certainly they're a monopoly that tracks you and gives you things you can live without. Like, I mean, you probably use Gmail. I use Gmail.
Mm-hmm.
I use Google Docs. And I'm
Me
not
too.
saying that this is wrong for one company to have all this, but it makes me feel like the other companies that come in that they can't really challenge Google because they can just buy them. So I feel like at a certain point, when you make so much money, you're actually disabling innovation within the space. But it's kind of like a joke about not being evil. Now, ImageShack, the company that I have started, so I raised money with ImageShack. I raised $11 million, and I ran it for about almost 10 years.
Okay.
And the investors expected $1 billion in revenue at least. And we never approached those numbers. And at the end, what happened is that I actually bought back all the shares that I sold to the investors,
Okay.
and I guess privatized the company. And now it's entirely 100% my company. It is much smaller. I used to have almost 30 people in it, and now it's just a handful of guys running it. And you could say that it is kind of a failure from the perspective of the investors that put their money in, because I have spent their money.
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize for not returning $1 billion to them, and offered to buy back the shares, and they agreed, and that was the end of it. Now, Vifrog.com, which was an image hosting business for Twitter and many other platforms, ultimately had to be turned off because Twitter developed their own image hosting, and those other companies that used Vifrog.com for their mobile image delivery also pretty much went to Amazon.com. So Amazon.com outcompeted Vifrog.com, but we were the first cloud provider for image serving. So there was a handful of projects that actually been outcompeted by the market. So from one point of view, those companies are no longer really presenting a strong presence, even though ImageShack still remains number 170 in the world by the visitors.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have the sort of oomph that we have had in early 2010, for example.
Okay.
So, but on the other hand, everyone who worked at ImageShack, everybody who worked at Vifrog, myself included, we learned so much. We learned how to run a better organization. We learned how to deal with investors. We learned how to scale web services to 1,000x degree. So we became experts in our craft, but the market forces just basically did not allow us to become anything that's worth billions of dollars.
Okay. Well, thank you for being honest with that. The follow-up question to that is, how are you going to apply those learnings to Xen and the X1 chain with the, venture capital angel investors, the business you're looking to build around that? How are you going to apply these lessons to that so that it does scale?
Well, I think the crypto industry is so different than any sort of other corporation that you could possibly be running, because a corporation has a board of directors where crypto projects usually have foundations. So the most thing that I guess that I learned, the most about would be how to work with people, how to run large teams, how to motivate people, how to be, I guess, a thought leader within a particular project, and how to get things done. Like actually to develop things and get them out to the market. Things that work, things that have good documentation, good ability to stay up without failing, that sort of thing. So the operational excellence and ability to plan and deliver is what I have learned over the years from Google and the startups that I ran.
Nice. And applying those learnings, Xen Tribe asks, what are you learning from Xen?
I'm learning that there's a lot of questions.
Right?
The community is insatiable with everybody want to know. I mean, on one side, people are asking me when Lambo. On the other side, they're like, okay, what about this and what about this and what about this? So it certainly has been a very interesting challenge, because if you think about it, we have started Xen as a very simple project, crypto for the masses.
Mm-hmm.
Mint your own crypto. Don't have to buy it. You don't even have to look at the chart. You can just mint Xen with $5 or $10. It doesn't ask a lot. You can choose any chain from 10 different chains and explore it. And there never been like any sort of like promises of going to the moon. And yet the community has grown to a relatively large number, and people are excited. And also what's really interesting about Xen is there's so many projects that are being deployed right now that they're not even being ran by us. So there's Phoenix, there's DBZen, there's Xen Heads NFTs, there's various others that are coming up. And so what's really interesting about this, unlike other crypto projects, and those other crypto projects are somewhat siloed, we are actually asking community to build new things on top of Xen, where many other projects are just building everything themselves.
Sure.
So that's kind of a difference, and that's I feel is better, because you engage community and you empower people to tap into the most scarce resource is not the amount of dollars within a token. That is just numbers. The more scarce resource in my book is your community. Like if you do not have the community, it doesn't matter what the chart does. When you do have a community, then it becomes amazing. Like